Alright, time for the DraftPhysics.com video presentation. So another shortish video. Just volume 2 of the lever experiment. So I did another version of it, and I'll just play the video, I guess, in the background there. Filmed in, shit-o-vision. Yeah, I don't know why the focus was wrong on the camera and different other problems. So actually I'll fix that in future. Still not nearly enough velocity being exchanged, energy, momentum. I guess this is the word I should keep using. It's better, but it's still not good enough. And part of the problem, I think, is the rails. The other part, I am using rather cheap versions of a bearing, and I think in principle all it has to do is put pressure in one side of the bearing. I mean, that's all that you're really using, so I think that is valid. But in this case I have it going through the middle of the tube, and the bearing's bigger than the hole, and so I think it wobbles a little, which makes it move really freely, but probably isn't too good for it not bouncing off the surface too much, and just causing a bunch of vibration in the lever itself. So it's a hollow steel bar. I didn't weigh anything. I'd guess it weighs half as much as one of the ball bearings, maybe less. I'm just guessing though. It could be worse. So but at any rate, it's still it's just too heavy. So I did try it with the two going in, and that works, frankly. But the velocity coming out is still nowhere near double. So I don't know why I did this particular backwards experiment. Just because it was there, I guess. I'll have to look at that and see if it indicates anything. I mean, obviously lots of energy kept going, so at least it was clear that there was you transferred some of the energy and you had a ton left over, and it kept going. So the good news is nothing's bouncing back. It's two balls stop, so that part's good. So you know that all the momentum is going into either the bar or the ball. It's going into one or the other, so that's good. And I think the thing is, I have to make these things go faster. They'll get more efficient. The lever gets more efficient the higher the speed, and unfortunately this crappy video isn't nearly good enough to do frames any faster than the speeds I'm using, and so I definitely have to improve something if I'm going to go any faster, because any faster is going to be awful hard to measure velocities. So that's the downside. But anyway, so it's better, but yeah, it still just isn't good enough, so I have to I'll try some other crap. I'll see what other crap I can find laying around to make a light but stiff lever out of, and I'll see about what I can do to change things. I don't know what to do about the rails. I mean, if I'm gonna, the whole angular momentum of the balls themselves, the rotational energy, it's a real problem, because when it does hit, it is going in the wrong direction. I mean, it's basically hitting the bar with energy going down, and that's hard to convert into energy going forward, obviously. So it's definitely another source of lost energy that has to be considered, and so I have to think about maybe using some other mechanism like pendulums or something. But then I have to figure out I have to use some other swinging device, because I have to be able to attach it and all that kind of crap. And anyway, I am thinking of trying to build one of the spring ones, like Brozo's, make a catapult, frankly, with a consistent force, and prove the point that way, as it might be easier to prove that way. I don't know if there's any way they can weasel out of that experiment. So that's the only problem. See, ideally, this experiment is the one I really want to use, just because it's really an absolute proof, because you're taking something that obviously has half the kinetic energy, and the idea is you're going to make it create something that has twice as much kinetic energy. And so that's, without any other sources of energy, that'll be a pretty decisive victory, where I suppose they could make up some sort of excuses that springs produce different amounts of energy depending on what they're pushing, as they have done in the past. And so that's a problem in the sense that that experiment isn't as decisive, because some of these people actually believe a spring can give you different amounts of energy, momentum, depending on what you put in front of the spring. I have to use some other explosive, I have to use some other source of energy. But anyway, we'll see. So that's probably just an update. So today was sort of a no substantial progress. So let's see how the next trial goes and such.